Hello, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Champs here. We are a week away from training camp. Yeah, the off season went by fast, went by way too fast. And the only really negative news was Turbin getting arrested for little weed, guns, and speeding. But other than that, besides Cowboys doing Greek dancing and paintball, it's been really somewhat of a quiet off season for right now. Now all the noise, the hype, the talk, now you got put to the test, which leads me to my subject. Every team acquire talent. Now, some can do it more than, no, correction. Some can do it better than others. Now, because you know in the past 5 years, the Kansas City Chiefs has been stable in the Super Bowl. But that's not who I want to talk about. There's 4 teams that I want to use for a prime example. As far as when you got the talent and that window's open, you better take advantage of it. Now, the 4 teams going to be Detroit Lions, the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and your Dallas Cowboys. Those 4 teams, each one in the past 4 years, their window was open. Here's an example. First team up, the San Francisco 49ers. The past 5 years, the 49ers have been to the Super Bowl at least twice. And both times they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs with 2 different quarterbacks. But during that time, their window was open. They got to the promised land but didn't win it. Now, as of right now, I don't know if their window actually closed or they finna open it back up. I know injuries do happen, but let me see if this year they can make a rebound. Now, here's another team whose window is still open. The Eagles, over the past 3 years, went to two Super Bowls. Again, both time against the Chiefs. The first time they lost. Second time, of course, no. Last year they won. What the Eagles have done, they have utilized the draft and trading certain players to actually keep their windows open for a period, maybe 2 or 3 more seasons, until the salary cap come in. Because you can spend all the money you want to, but the salary cap is still there. But one thing that they have done during their windows, they built the offense around Hurts. They brought in Barkley last year. They actually been drafting very well, especially on the defensive line and the linebackers. The offensive line, you can say, is probably the top 3 in the NFL. So long as they're utilizing their strength and keeping Hurts to play within his means, that's the formula of a good team. They got the coaching staff. Even 2 years ago when they lost their offensive and defensive coordinators, they still came out 10-1, but they collapsed. But the talent is still there, and they know what schemes that they're running and what works, what don't work, and what does work. Now, case in point, the Detroit Lions. 4 years ago, the Lions was one of the worst teams in history. But when they hired Dan Campbell, within 2 years, they was already in the NFC Championship game. And even last year, they went, they was one of the top teams to go to the Super Bowl in NFC. By trading their quarterback at the time, which was Stafford, they brought in higher draft picks, and they utilized the free agency to bring in players to fit their system. Now, this coming up year, I don't think nothing too much should change with the system. Because they smart, they should promote people from within who know the system. And I mean, they still in their open window season. Now, as far as the Cowboys 21, 22, 23, that was their window to try to make it to the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, I'm not going to say the person, but you already know what happened. We couldn't make it. The defense from 21 and 22 put the Cowboys in the category as one of the top teams, because when Dan Quinn came in, they actually he changed that defense, brought in the player to fit his system. The offense was already had identity, and everything meshed together. Now, last year, when Dan Quinn left, the Cowboys, to me, instead of just promoting somebody from within to keep that same system, the problem with the GM, they brought in Zimmer, and he has a different coaching style, different from Quinn. And Mike McCarthy, he wanted to actually run his offense the way he wanted to, which differs from previous years. And as you know about last year, the Cowboys 7-10, injuries do happen. Now, I don't believe that that this Cowboys window is still open. I think it's closed. And you see right now, over the past 3 out of 4 years, they have been drafting offensive linemen to rebuild that offensive line. And they still have more holes to fill. Now, people might disagree with me, but the Cowboys are rebuilding. And despite of you have a new coaching staff who never coached together. Everything is all about chemistry. You just can't pick different parts and think that it's going to mesh together. It takes time. It takes ideals for all the coaching staff to know what they want, and to get the type of players for whatever system that they're going to run to mesh. Now, I know many may disagree with me about my assessment about these 4 teams, but it is what it is. And for those Cowboy fans who think that the window is still open because of that contract and they picking up Pickens, I'm sorry. With this Cowboys team, the window had closed last year. You have to rebuild or retool to set up a new window. And like my brother 1980 said, this is going to be a 3-year process. Yes, you started with the offensive line. But now you have a new regime, and it takes 3 years to get the system they want to run and the type of players they want to run the system in. So, and I still got the Cowboys winning 7 to 9 games this year. But let's wait back and see what happens.